Yay! Right, so hashtag no buy. It's not a new thing from what I've read. We're just going to flick through this article really quickly from Forbes. I try and pick, relatively decent sourced material. So Forbes magazine, most people have heard of that. It's pretty legit. They probably just stolen all this stuff. We don't want to subscribe. So let's just have a read through. So if you've not heard of no buy before, it's basically you get to January, you realise how skint you are from spending so much at Christmas, Thanksgiving if you're in America, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of this tut, Halloween if you go all out for that. So the end of the year has a load of stuff in it that people spend lots of money on. Tat. And so you get to January and then you basically think, oh, I'm skint. I don't want to buy any more stuff. My house is full of stuff. Oh no, what will I ever do? And then you feel guilty about the environment. Then you feel guilty about overconsumption and all of this stuff. And then you end up with hashtag no buy. Hashtag no buy 2025 because it kind of rhymes. So I think they put the year in a bit more this year. So as it says here, how to cut out the consumption in the new year. After a consumerism-driven holiday season, many are taking to TikTok and other social media to share their rules for a no-buy year, which prohibits spending of almost all sorts. Could you do it? Well, let's ask that question. Could you do it? I mean, it depends what no buy. I mean, if it's no buying contact lens solution, well, that's just dumb. I'm going to buy that. If it's not buying, fridge magnets, I could probably, I could do that. I could live without it. Okay, we've seen maximalist decor and we've seen traditional trad wife trends come and go across our feeds the past few years, but this one may be the most extreme, not buying anything at all. Well, there are a few exceptions, but could 2025 be a no-buy year? The phrase no buy can be taken as strict or loose as you'd like. Well, that's handy to know because I imagine people, good intentions at the start of the year, and then they slowly fizzle away. So they're going to take this like all year till next Christmas. So next Christmas is included in this year. So you're not going to buy anything, yeah? No more Christmas presents. We're going full Jesus Christmas. Simply put, during a few months and all the way up to a year, folks are eliminating almost all non-essential purchases, including, but not limited to, new clothes, makeup products, perfumes, books, furniture, eating out, ordering takeout, and more. Okay, so yeah, non-essentials. Fine. I mean, people do buy way too much of this stuff. I'm pretty lightweight on buying stuff. I live in a small apartment, the flat, the pied-à-terre. I am here with a finite amount of room. I find that the more you expand your room, your living quarters, the more stuff you're going to put in it. I don't feel any need whatsoever to keep up with fashion trends. I like fashion. I love Fashion Week. I like looking at the creativity and the design, but that doesn't then make me want to buy the latest stuff. So I'm not driven by that same, by that kind of need to satisfy either mine or other people's expectations of what you should look and dress like for a start. Makeup, very light touch. I'm scraping around the bottom of a mascara jar as we speak. So here we go. The trending challenge has popped up a few times in the past, but not quite at the rate observed on social media today. So this is why I wanted to look at it, because it's even entered my non-TikTok world. So this is perhaps as a response to the current inflation in the US. What did I say? People don't have money? Oh, let's do a no-buy year. Coupled with a looming recession and political turmoil. Okay. As a result, many are turning to this hardcore yet gamified way to take back some of their financial control. Well, I suppose though, if you enjoy that kind of together but apart vibe that TikTok has with a trend, you can like join in, and then it makes you feel like you're doing something. Good for you. So this lady in New York has done this financial challenge before in 24 with the goal of paying down her debts. As seen in the TikTok video above, she is now doing the whole thing again in 25 with rules and regs. We won't look at that yet because we're going to take a look at a deeper dive into the TikTok stuff. So it's kind of interesting. So what she said, I would say this year I'm aiming to be, she's from New York, so we need to do New York accents. It's fine to do accents, isn't it? No one ever has a problem with that. Okay, so what do we... New York accent. Hey, I'm walking here. I would say... This is not offensive. You ain't... I would say this year, I can only do Southern American. So she's from there now. I would say this year I'm aiming to be a bit stricter because I'm potentially losing income due to the TikTok ban. False. Fake news. And really wanted to focus on building substantial savings this year, said Berman. I think the difference is this year, I'm not unlearning bad spending behaviors like in 2024. I'm reinforcing the good ones. Love that. And good for her. So, okay. Reinforcing good behaviors. Fine. As in Berman's case, the first time she buckled down for a NOBUY, she was battling debt and a self-diagnosed shopping addiction. Oh, you should never self-diagnose. Never do that. Always get someone to, if you think you've got a proper addiction, get proper help. Never do that. Okay, cool, fine. Now in 25, she hopes to get fully out of debt and then reassess her spending habits in the second half of the year. If you're in debt on credit cards because of this kind of spending, not because of like rent, utilities, council tax, medical, whatever, that's different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about makeup, shoes, books, cinema trips, things you can live without, the nice to haves, the luxury items, the non-essentials. If you're in debt because of those, that is a controllable debt. And I would do it's an awful place to be in. And I would do everything you can to stop that. Don't be scared of the companies either. Like phone them up and say, dude, I'm in the hole here. What can you do for me? Because I can't pay this shit off. Sorry. They can probably like sort out. They can freeze interest. They can do all sorts of things. Try and transfer it onto a zero interest card for, a period of time. There's a lot of them out there. If you're in the UK, the old Martin Lewis money saving expert is just go and look on there and try and get some independent advice on what to do with your debt. I am not a financial advisor for the for the record, but try and don't be afraid to phone them up. I mean, that's what I did in my experience. So I've had overdrafts from university. I've had that took me years to get rid of because I kept paying them off and then spending it again. And then I had debt with I used a credit card once to pay off. I think it's to pay off that overdraft. But I made sure I got a 36-month zero interest credit card. And what that means, if you're not familiar, I wasn't. I had no credit rating because I paid cash for everything. But that one time I used a credit card, I made sure I got a zero interest over 36 months, and that gave me a deadline to pay it in, basically. And I was lucky enough that I could get that. But it's scary. It can be very, very scary. And the problem with credit debt and store cards, awful. They try and push it on you. You pay on PayPal. They've got the Klarna thing, It's like, pay over time, but you're going to get charged extra. So for the pleasure, be careful. And I think if you're in that kind of severe debt hole, then the no-buy thing, you should already be doing that. It's just not a trend. That's a necessity for you to get out of a hole on your non-essentials for sure. If you're not in that hole and you just want to do it for a bit of fun and see how you can cut back on your materialism, then that's fine. And kind of check for me, it's like, do I want it? Do I need it? I like having nothing in my house. And then I've got, I don't know if you can see behind me, my finger. All of these shelves here are covered in little figure men, little Marvel and different action figure men. My partners. So I would happily live in a white box with a telly and a kettle and the internet, and he has an enormous collection of stuff. So there we go. Okay, some people think it's a bit extreme, but I think they just don't understand how stressful living with debt can be, said Berman. It's definitely hard, but life-changing, and after a while, it's really refreshing to get off the hamster wheel of constantly acquiring new stuff and being sold to. Being sold to, that's interesting. Advertisers and marketers and salespeople are very, 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 very clever people. And, you know, it's, I remember telling my child when she was a tiny kid, just so I didn't get nagged at, that whole pest of power. I told her, like, when an advert would come up, you know, in the middle of Peppa Pig or whatever, she would, you know, so I didn't get that kind of, mummy, I want that. I can't be dealing with that. I'm not listening to that. I would just say to her, what is an advert? That's an advert. And what are they trying to do? Take my money. So that's what we learnt. We learnt what adverts were. Little children time. So that you can build up this resistance to it and sort of let them wash without affecting you. They will still affect you if you watch adverts. They sit and your little monkey brain who wants the shiny thing will want it. But yeah, it's bad, man. If someone's in like debt about it and it's a self-diagnosed shopping addiction. I know I kind of skimmed over that. It was a bit light-hearted about it. But it's hard because you do get a kind of, you know, you get that little endorphin buzz, that dopamine hit when you buy something new. I don't know if it's as strong online as it is when you go into a shop. That would be interesting to like actually measure someone's brain waves to see whether they get a bigger dopamine hit clicking Amazon versus going out and having that experience in a shop. Maybe we can do that. There we go. There's another stream. Write that down. I do actually have a shark notebook and pen from a Cornwall holiday last year. I holiday in Cornwall now. I'm that old. It's depressing. Here we go. So, brain monitor, endorphin, online versus in-person shop. I'll know exactly what that means later. Guarantee it. Not a problem. Never forgotten anything in my life. What are you talking about? Okay, so as with any game, there can be exceptions to rules and also ways to make this challenge more attainable in the real world. There are a few things that aren't able to be cut out, like rent, groceries, transportation to and from work, education, healthcare, and of course anything during an emergency situation. Covered that already. So if you have kids, I have one. Some other additions, maybe a few treats and toys. They don't need to suffer, right? And the same applies for those with pets, adding in their necessities plus treats and toys as well, just like the human kiddos. Don't get me started on fur babies. All right, Ali Bank has even weighed in, saying it like we're meant to know who that is. Pros and cons of the NOBUY challenge. Okay, this is cool, and some tips. So let's see what the tips before you rush off and don't buy any and just sit still and not buy anything. Set clear and accomplishable goals. 2, plan for the unexpected. Impossible. And 3, find free fun. Yeah, like if you've got a little kid going to the park, that's what they like the best. It's boring for an adult. Don't lie and pretend you love it. It's boring. But that is what little kids love the most. You don't need to spend tens of pounds to go to an indoor play centre, which is just germ. You're just paying to roll around and sit in other people's germs. It's disgusting. So yeah, if you've got a little kid, go to the park. That's free. If you've got an older kid, get a better internet contract and then they're happy too. Berman set up her own rules in addition to the above so that doing this challenge wouldn't have a serious impact on her social life or overall happiness. Get rid of your social life. Problem solved. That was my step 1. I'm joking. I'm not joking. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting in a room streaming. I mean, social life is hard. I work a lot. I'm a mum. I have a partner who's my best friend. So like, and I like my kid. So I kind of like hanging out with those two people, bestest in the world. So yes, I have friends. Thank you. How dare you? But it's like, they're the same. They're in the same picture. Everyone's quite happy at home and doing the home with youngish kids right now. So I think once we come out of that and the kids grow up, then we can start having a proper social life again. Food and drink and movies are all allowed in my NOBUY. I made a point not to restrict in that area. Takeout and delivery are banned except for once a month to allow room in my budget for socialising. If my friends want to go shopping, I simply make a video about it to hold myself accountable and don't shop. Yeah, food and drink, obviously, but are you talking about like beer, wine, champagne, gin, tequila? What are you talking about? Because if that's in there, that's not essential. If it's, cabbage and oats, then that's fine. Movies, like, I don't believe this woman hasn't got like a live streaming platform. You know what I mean? Streaming platform like Netflix or Prime or whatever. Like, bin them off. You don't need them either. It's like, I've still got DVDs, so what the hell? I mean, this woman's probably like half my age and she's never owned a DVD in her life. Sad. For me. Okay, cool. She shared that the easiest thing to cut out so far has been beauty products, as she works in the industry and has a stockpile left over to use up. Oh my God, sell them. The hardest thing to avoid, clothing, she shared, is her vice, but she's saying strong. The hardest thing is learning to ignore these urges. The urge to buy beautiful clothing will never go away from me. I'm just learning the difference between indulging responsibly and splurging impulsively, she said. Saying I can't afford it, or I don't need it, or I don't have room for it has been helpful, though. Nothing is worth derailing financial goals. I don't have that problem. Since 2006, in 2006, I went and worked in France for a year for like a kids' holiday camp. It was really good fun. One of my vintage classic, most favourite years. And before I went there, because I kind of wanted some throwaway clothes, I went into a charity shop near my mum's house and came out with like bagfuls of vest tops, tank tops, whatever you want to call them. Like t-shirts, little v-neck numbers, shorts, like really cool little clothes from like high street brand names that you've seen and know. And then they were like bagfuls. I remember it being 30 quid. And I remember thinking one top in one of these shops is 30 quid. And I've just got bagful. And since then, I can't justify buying brand new stuff in high street shops. That it's just too expensive. And then you go to like online shopping like Amazon, and then they've got like the cheap equivalent or Shein or all the fast fashion now stuff, and you're like, that is just bad quality material, and I don't like the whole vibe that it goes with. So it's quite hard. But then you look at, it's just difficult. For me, I feel if I find something in a charity shop that's good, I'm more likely to buy a better brand product in a charity shop than I've got like some Karen Millen pieces, and I would never go into a Karen Millen shop ever. But if I find it in a charity shop, yeah, all day long. I would rather buy them kind of classic timeless pieces that are good quality from a good quality brand than, or even just a decent high street retailer. Someone like in the UK, like Next is good. They're sort of middle top of the high street pricing, I would say. And yeah, it's like, I remember getting a full length wool coat that in their shop had been like 120 quid. I got it for like 40 quid. And it still had the tags on it and the spare button. And you think, this is fine. Doing it this way in charity shops is fine. And it also kind of makes it more fun. You end up putting together your own outfits. You can look at the trends and what's fashionable. This is just my random advice now. If like you're like this lady and have trouble with clothing, is like go and look at the fashions, the new trends in Vogue, the fashion weeks, whatever. Take all of that. Then see how the high street brands like H&M and New Look, they're very good at interpreting those fashions and colours and textures into affordable high street. And then go and find it in the charity shops. And you'll end up finding, you might find nothing. So it's a bit like a fishing trip. You're not guaranteed you're going to come back with a catch. So that's kind of adds a bit of game, a bit of excitement to it. And you're giving your money to charity, which is always better, and you're recycling clothing, which is better for the environment. So you're getting rid of that guilt. And then you're also, like, you might find a piece that is the right colour, the right texture, but it's just a slightly different shape. And you're like, you don't end up looking like everyone else as well. So you actually come across as a bit cooler and a bit more bespoke, like you've put together your own. So, oh my God, I'm going way off tangent here. But the point is, with a lot of things like this, if you follow the trends, you will never keep up with it. You'll always be behind, and you'll always feel like you're being sold to, like this lady. Find what it is you like, what you look good in, what you feel comfortable in, whether it's going to the movies, what kind of food, what's the most important thing for you? Is it experiencing time with your friends, or is it having nice things around you at home? Like, pick one and do that, and like knock the other one on the head. I've gone way overboard. Okay, so I'm not sure how much more we need to go through this. They're just talking about reduction in shopping, holding yourself accountable. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think, we've been going for like 20 minutes on this. So here we go. Let's just finish up with this sentence. If you break your no-buy, don't give up. You didn't fail. Just get right back up and keep going. Don't reset the clock to zero. And I think that goes with everything. We've all been there with like diets and exercise and quitting smoking, quitting vape, whatever it is. You have one little thing and I've had that one thing now. Throw it all out. Start again. And you don't need to do that. So just don't let it bother you if you do slip up and buy something. I mean, if you've got credit cards and you're in that much debt, cut them up. Just cut them up.